Hello, Savannah. Hello, 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 Savannah. And welcome to another edition of Candily Kesha. It is so good to be with you on this Monday night. Listen, I don't have much by way of information sharing outside of a few council updates I want to share with you. And some information with regard to our Georgia General Assembly. We are just coming off of a visit to the Georgia State Capitol at Savannah Chatham Day, and I want to share with you a little bit of information as it relates to some legislation that's moving. By now, I hope some of you, if not all of you, have heard from our delegation. Savannah is represented by state representatives as well as state senators. And it is my desire that they are as active, vocal, visible, and accessible as I am with regard to any state issues, whether they have any control over what's moving in the Senate and what's not moving in the House. It is incumbent upon them to share information with you. I am so proud as your Alderwoman at Large for Post One that we did exactly what we said we were going to do in 2019. Upon taking office in 2020, we wanted to be accessible to you. That meant we were going to extend our experiences under the Gold Dome to the neighborhoods throughout Savannah and to all of the residents. In addition, we were going to advocate for you. We wanted to make certain that we were advocating for citizens throughout the city of Savannah in every single district with regard to the most pressing issues facing them. And so we, in turn, have done that. We also wanted to inspire you to engage and take your rightful place in local government, meaning we didn't come to play the game. We came to change the historic game. We came to change the legacy game. We do a lot and deal with a lot when it comes to legacy contracts, those revolving vendors and recipients of City of Savannah contracts. It's the same engineering firms, same architects, same attorneys, same construction companies, same developers. And we know that more entities than what's on our agenda exists in Savannah. So we have been advocating for fairness, transparency in that process. We also wanted to do away with legacy politicians, those who have been in office and who have passed the torch to family members who then come into office as if it's a lineage or a heritage to be taken upon themselves and take as their own. Elected office and public office denotes servitude. I am not an elected official. I'm a public servant, and I have been for over 20 years in Savannah. And so that's really and truly the primary issue I have with the job that I have to do, in that there's so much of an underbelly of an experience when you do not align yourself with those traditional politics, with those traditional legacy contractors, with those traditional legacy politicians. I'm different. There's a song. You want me to sing it? No, just kidding. But what we did do is we maintain a standard. We listened to the electorate as they spoke in 2019 when they sent nearly an entire new council into office and said, we want to not do business as usual. Look at the Durand Avenue corridor. That is a result of the previous council. The Deloach administration approved all of those petitions for the businesses that are now in that corridor. Parker's, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Captain D's. That was all approved previous to our arrival. But in short order, the majority on this administration delivered it on a platter and made it much easier for them. And now the residents of Poplar Place and all surrounding that community to include Sylvan Terrace, and individuals commuting inside and outside of Savannah will now have to suffer as a result of the influx of business that will bring with it more traffic congestion. But unfortunately, the infrastructure, traffic calming, has not been matched with the output of what those businesses will yield. We want growth. We desire growth. We love growth. We just want smart growth. And we want growth that will not impede the harmony of our communities. And so we want you to know that in addition to advocating for you and inspiring you to take your rightful place in local government and engage in local government, that accessibility is most important. But it can't stop there. It is not enough for us to advocate, make ourselves accessible, inspire, and empower you to engage in the political process. We now must go the distance. We now have to challenge the status quo, hold elected servants accountable, put pen to paper. It's election season, y'all. You can get almost anything you want from politicians who have not responded to email, who have not picked up the phone, politicians who have made promises by way of task force and have not delivered anything beyond rhetoric. Now is the time, Savannah. Now is the time to make good, to make them make good on all of their shortcomings. You're going to see a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of maneuvering coming from under the gold dome. You're going to see a lot of activity that gives the appearance of progress. But what we want you to know and what we want you to understand, that it should not have taken 3 years for it to happen. I still want you to take it. And people have said, you know what, Kesha, you should not share too many of your platforms and your plans with regard to what you intend to do when you take office, because they'll hijack your ideas and make them your own. Well, I say to those individuals, thank you, I appreciate it, but the ideas, in fact, are not my own. And I don't intend to succeed so much so. I'm not so desperate to win and succeed as to withhold opportunity from the citizens of Savannah right now. You know, we are beyond 50 days and we have not had a homicide. That's something to be proud of. That's something to be grateful for. I don't desire another family to bury a loved one to gun violence or for there to be lives snuffed out, because I don't want the right decisions to be made right now. Hiring Chief Gunther has proven fruitful for the Savannah Metro. Within the 2-week period, less than 30 days, the morale within the police department went way up. Crime dropped way down, particularly gun violence and homicide, by 90% in less than 30 days of him being in office. We could have done this when I advocated for it within my first year. In fact, my 3rd month in office, we were advocating for change in the police department before the mass exodus, before the hemorrhage of police officers, some of our most seasoned and veteran officers. You know, y'all are welcome back, right? Apply, 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 come back, come back, come back. We got this lateral program going on. We need you. So I say all of that to say, we will not withhold ideas like how do we continue to clear our streets with dignity of homeless persons who pose a threat to themselves as well as to other citizens. We want a very aggressive and proactive approach to doing that. We want there to be more compassion than clearing out the homeless camp that this very administration contributed to. This administration, administration and council members and the mayor encouraged and fostered a way for citizens to go down under that bridge. Notwithstanding the fact that they went down there with cameras and lives and videos and the news cameras to feed people, to create a tent city with tents that were not weatherproof. And with the first light rain, it proved that they were not very useful. That went on for a full 18 months, to the fact that it became one of the most undesirable areas in Savannah. But because developers at the Eastern Wharf saw that that area was now desirable, all of a sudden a fire occurred. And we, in one full act, decided that one legacy contractor could go in and clear it out. And now it was unfit for human habitation. After years of those individuals being down there, now many of those individuals are taken up in our downtown corridors, which has resulted in lots of interruption to business, lots of traffic of our homeless citizens who have mental health challenges that are not diagnosed and untreated, that result in other problems. So much so that a lot of them have even trickled over into the Midtown and South Side area. It was a problem that we, again, invited. So do I want to withhold all of my trade secrets in terms of how to alleviate those issues, how to reduce those issues? No, I don't want to hold that to myself for another 9 or 10 months until I take office. No, we want this mayor to get it right now. Nonetheless, in November 2023, you can pass the torch to me. I like that one. Okay, so we want to continue to make mention and make known those issues that are so close to what citizens are actually now starting to feel. For many months, we have been led by irresponsible media in the form of Savannah Morning News, WTOC, WSAV, to the extent that people were not as aware and knowledgeable of what really was happening. But now the airways are not strong enough, and there isn't enough ink, paper, and irresponsible journalists like, I can't even think of the person's name, Bill Dowers, what's the other guy's name? Will Peoples, what's another really mean one? I can't think of his name. Somebody put his name in the chat. Adam Van Brimmer. Yeah, that guy. There aren't enough of them, and their talent is not as strong to fool the citizens of Savannah, to continue to fool the citizens of Savannah. I have said from the beginning of time that the media in their complicitness becomes culpable in where we are in our community. The media plays a really huge role in how engaged citizens are, how knowledgeable they are, and how much they can hold elected officials accountable. But when you insulate and hide behind issues, insulate people and hide behind pressing issues, and decide to focus on sensationalism and interpersonal relations and the lack thereof, you do the citizens of Savannah a disservice, thereby putting our community in harm's way. From the very first quarter of us being in office, these media affiliates should have been reporting in a way in which the citizens of Savannah would have recognized from day one that we had a defunct police department and leader. Year one, we failed to roll back the millage rate, thereby resulting in increased property taxes of individuals. By year three, we had eclipsed the number of homicides than all previous administrations before us, the 2 or 3 of the administrations before us. The morale in the city of Savannah among staffers was at an ultimate low. They failed to highlight and feature the real issues associated with forced displacement, to include areas like Clearview and Yamacraw. They failed to highlight the real issue with preserving the Weeping Time property. If people really knew and understood the meaning and the value of the Weeping Time land, quite possibly issues like what happened with the crew would have never happened, because the spotlight would have been laser focused on the fact that the policies within the city of Savannah were skewed. The majority of the vote, to exclude myself, Alderwoman Lanier, and Blakely, were that of individuals who had aligned themselves with the establishment and forgot about the call of the people in 2019, where that electorate said no more investment in brick and mortar and things, and they wanted investment in the citizens of Savannah. They desired that for people who were born here, live here, grew up here, graduated school here, raised their children here, or even moved here for a better life, they wanted to make sure that these people were primary, central, and focus of the administration. Well, instead, in short order, a majority was established and all hope was gone. I told Jay Melder as we interviewed him, he's our 4th city manager in the 3 years and 2 months that I've been in office. We've had 4 city managers in the 3 years and 2 months that I've been in office. How's that for leadership? Where is that headline? Where is that news story? Where is that focus? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that between that dynamic and the fact that sitting older persons cannot put an item on the agenda for consideration or presentation. In other words, we cannot propose an ordinance, legislation, or a service like Carver Village needs streets paved. Let's hope that between Chester Ellis and Van Johnson in this election season, they can get some streets paved in Carver Village. Y'all, it's Christmas. Get your list ready. Except for this time, we won't allow you to be fooled. And so when they go about in a way in which they're not reporting accurately, often with authenticity, transparently, they lose focus, and the intent then becomes to major in the minor things. My pastor often says that the greatest enemy of direction is distraction. And this has been an administration where the leader specializes in deflection and distraction, thereby leading to confusion. I don't have to sell it to you. You can feel it. I don't have to beg you to understand or even ask you to understand, because you can feel it. When you drive through the corridors of Midtown to downtown, from River Street back to the South Side, we have a 13-story building going up in this historic city that's going to block the view of the bridge. We have a $1 billion project happening right over on Hutchinson Island, despite the fact that we haven't responded to the real core issues of sex trafficking. Instead, we take photo ops. The mass development of apartments and condos in our Montgomery Street and MLK corridors, where no citizen of Savannah would be able to afford to live. Where is the value? The value is where we put our dollars, and where we have put the citizens of Savannah tax dollars over the last year is not in the people. What we've done for the people, the majority has increased your property taxes. The majority even voted to increase your water bill. And so what we are left with is, as I was saying before, the city manager was our last hope. Well, that hope is gone. And it is my hope that as we take office in 2024, that there will be enough to salvage. There will be opportunity, real opportunity, where we engage in relations, not negotiations, not collaborations, but when we engage in true relations with individuals who have not reciprocated all that they have gained from doing business in and with the city of Savannah. That includes our universities, our nonprofits, as well as our ports, and not to mention tourism. It is high time that we become our brother's keepers. And for too long, people whose backs this community was built on and continue to be built on receive less and less and less, while their families suffer more and more and more. I digress. What we want to move on to now is some information we want to share by way of updates with regard to our last city council meeting. St. Joseph's Cantler, kudos to them for once again contributing to our housing fund. Since I've been in office, there have been millions of dollars of contributions to this housing fund, this notorious housing fund. I just want the day to come where we see the products that are birthed out of the housing fund. We want the products. You may say they're coming or they're there, but we want the products from the housing fund with the millions of dollars that our city has invested, in addition to other community partners. We want those products to rival the products that we see being developed in rapid speed in the corridors of President Street, as well as the corridors of Montgomery Street and MLK. We want rapid development that is affordable to match the development that happens like that, that's not affordable for our citizens of Savannah. This is Black History Month. The city of Savannah has invested an enormous amount of money in the Black Heritage Festival. Many of the acts, programs, events, concerts are free. And so we want you to partake in those events as they will take place throughout the month through to February 28th. And you can find out more about the Black Heritage Festival on our website as well as on our Facebook page. The Cultural Arts Center is releasing a grant application through the Weave a Dream program for $5,000 to nonprofit organizations. And these organizations are established nonprofits as well as budding nonprofit organizations. Kudos for those of you who don't who don't know. Chief Gunther has been selected as the permanent chief of the city of Savannah, and I'm so happy that Devon Adams has also been. It's recently announced that he is the assistant chief, and so these are veteran police officers who have worked tirelessly in our police department for over 20 years. I personally feel like it was the best choice in that they're home and department grown individuals, and our department was really, really suffering and struggling with all of the change over the last 10, 15 years. We really needed some continuity, and I think these gentlemen are the exact people who can bring this to us. Moving on, and as I close, we stated to you that there's been some movement of legislation going through the Georgia General Assembly. And so it came to our attention while we were in Atlanta that Senate Bill 31 um, seeks to strip progressive prosecutors of prosecutorial discretion. This legislation, Senate Bill 31, would require a district attorney to reimburse the attorney general's office when a district attorney declines to prosecute a case and the attorney general prosecute. Then the attorney general will in turn prosecute that case in the DA's place. The AG, attorney general, could then become involved in any criminal case at the governor's request. That sounds dangerous. Um, and it sounds like a slippery slope of a situation that should be a little more thought out than just introducing a bill of this magnitude without the buy-in and consideration of the public. This would affect all district attorney's offices in the state of Georgia, all prosecutors in the state of Georgia. So we want you to contact your legislators and let them know that you now know more about this bill. You now know more about this legislation, and you, one, want more information, but more than that, find out from them where they stand on this legislation. What is their input, if any, and have they talked to, collaborated, or had communication with any of the representatives or senators who may be authors of the bill? And just ask questions. Why is this being introduced, and how would this impact Chatham County? Another bill or two that are also similar and being considered are two bills related to recalling a district attorney by a 2% vote. So we can only imagine what this is all about. There are a litany of other pieces related to some House bills that I basically found interest in and kind of raised my brow a little bit. One was for is Senate Bill 3, and this is relating to organization of executive branch generally so as to require state departments. Oh, I have a guess. It's relating to an organization of executive branch generally so as to require state departments, agencies, boards, bureaus, offices, commissions, and public corporations authorities to assess educational and training requirements for positions of employment, to identify positions of employment for which such requirements can be reduced, to require efforts to reduce the number of positions for which a 4-year. So this essentially, these bills are oftentimes very convoluted and wordy, unnecessarily, I think, sometimes deliberately confusing and sneaky so that they can sneak stuff in. But apparently, they are reducing the number of requirements to include positions where you will not, reducing the number of positions where you need a 4-year degree on those various levels at the state. Then it was House Bill 349. I pulled this one as it relates to professions and businesses so as to repeal Chapter 10 relating to barbers, cosmetologists, and enact a new chapter that reorganizes, modernizes, and clarifies all aspects of current regulations of the practice of barbering, hair design, cosmetology, and nail care through the State Board of Cosmetology. So I pulled this one just because I have a lot of friends and family members who are barbers and cosmetologists and nail techs. So House Bill 349 is going to affect your business in some regard. So call your state representatives and find out what's going on with that as well. And then it was House Bill 348, piqued my interest for some reason here. Let's see. This is to the enforcement of laws regarding speeding in school zones using recorded images. This one is really of importance because a lot of people have been impacted here locally by some of these speeding cameras. So contact your legislators and find out more about House Bill 348 as well. And then There's a couple more, but I won't bore you with that because this is not fun stuff, but it's important stuff. It's important stuff. So go to legis.ga.gov, and you can find out about all of the legislation that's moving through the House and moving through the Senate. And I think most of these pieces are on first reading right now. It has to go to second reading before it much can be happen. Much can happen before it's ultimately adopted and put into law. But I have with me Dr. Teray. What's who? I said, Jesus, you're gonna get in trouble for that. What do I owe this privilege tonight? I think I'm gonna have that as a segment on my show where I just have pop-up guests. I don't trust the producer to do me that way, but I have a pop-up
It
guest
was
tonight.
it was the producer. It was the producer said I sent you the link to go on Kandily Kesha and
I
talk
like
about
it.
the student. So that's why we just finished a Black Heritage Festival program at Georgia Southern, and so then that's when I saw the message from the producer, and so he wanted me to share with you all about a scholar at Georgia Southern University who needed some resources, some support from the community. She needed some funds because she was told by the bursar's office. She received a confirmation from them today that if she didn't get the money in, then she will not be able to be enrolled in school. And so we were doing what we can to try to help with regard to that matter. So that's why the producer told me to come on. And so that's why I did that. I can pop out also. So, but I was just being obedient to the producer of Kandily Kesha.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Producer, and of course, I that's what my heart is in terms of helping. So, tell me, when does the student have to have the money in by, and how much is it?
Um, she and I talked earlier. Some funds were coming in. The amount was $3,400. They wanted the money today. They wanted today, and we figured that if at least if she got it tomorrow, that there's some leeway because there's some other folks at Georgia Southern who are in administration who have been informed about the situation and we're trying to help out with regards to that. So we're like, whatever people can do to assist with regards to that, because her family, just for anyone out there, her family, they do not have the resources. They have attempted, and each avenue that they went down, that some of y'all are probably going to say they went down those avenues, and their family do not qualify. Even with regard to the VA, what was said that because their father does not have the percentage of disability, so that's why she can't do the GI Bill. That's what they initially thought would happen for her this semester.
What
So,
about what about for those who would say, can she apply for a student loan?
and that's why again, all those resources. That's why they attempted from Parent Plus and all that, and they were not able to get those. So, and that's the situation.
You know what? This is a sidebar, but how is it that the parent can get a loan, a Parent Plus loan, but I can't get the grades?
Hmm. Hmm.
What's what? Where you do that at? Huh?
It's called FERPA. You gotta get that FERPA. You gotta get
Oh,
that FERPA. You gotta get that. You gotta sign. You gotta get them to sign that FERPA. So that way you can they get that information. So yes, yes indeed, you can get
so
it once they sign that FERPA. Got your name on it. Bam! You can get that information from the school. They can now have a conversation. The professors, the faculty, I mean the staff members, the administrators, they can now talk to you. They're gonna say, "Do you have a FERPA?" So that's what happened. Even though you paying, yeah, get that
yeah,
FERPA, Parent
I'm just
Plus loan and FERPA.
I'm just trying to help somebody, Dr. Teray, because that just dropped into my spirit. I heard a parent say. I mean, I'm not calling any names or anything, but it's something just dropped in my, and I'm not talking about for myself. I mean,
Right.
you
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's why I would say this: if you're going to do a Parent Plus loan, do you understand? You sign Parent Plus loan, but you also they sign the FERPA for you.
right. So that should be the
Yeah.
trade-off. That parent can get their own login, sign in, and get that information, and they can see the grades for themselves.
That's right, and that way, and say, hey, you call up the registrar's office. I need to get send to me such such so and so. Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay.
Anybody else say I got the first each year each year. I mean, each academic year they're at the school. Make sure you got that FERPA if you want the information. Now, if you don't want the information, then you don't sweat about the FERPA.
Got you. Now tell me this. Back to this student who we want to,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure her parents have FERPA. So tell me, how can we help? Where can we
Okay.
where can we send
Um,
funds? And first, what is the young lady's major?
she's African Studies minor, and she is a theater major.
Theater, Africana studies,
African
and tell me
Studies
this,
minor. Mm-hmm.
what
Hmm.
year is she?
She's a sophomore.
Okay. And has she pledged any sorority?
No, no, she has not yet. She is not yet. Mm-mm.
Okay. Is she a member of any organizations? We're just trying to make some associations with people who would probably think, oh, that's my sister, or that's
With regards to the theater groups, yeah. With
okay.
regards to theater, so yes, she has performed in a number of plays. So yes, and that's even from high school on. So yes, and in fact, there's a play that they are working on right now. That she's one of the characters in it, and I forgot the name of the play. They just were with me on Friday, and they were discussing it. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of it. But
Okay.
yes,
And tell me this: what is she from Savannah?
she's from Atlanta. She's from Atlanta, Georgia. She
Okay.
has relatives here in Savannah, Georgia, and unfortunately, her relatives attended Alpha Eli Beach High School. I'm just all the
That
woman. I got on blue and white tonight. All the woman. I got on blue and white. So I'm representing. I'm representing the high. I'm representing the high. All the woman. So, but yeah, her relatives attended Beach High School, and in fact, her relatives were at the picnic of Beach High School when they had during the summer. So,
Well, that's awesome. Well, this may not be too terribly unfortunate because we want all of our Beach High School listeners to be among those who would donate to this young lady. And you know that the Beach High School Bulldogs, they love real hard and they support their own very much. So tell me again, how is it that we can contribute or make a donation to this young lady?
I'm hoping that the producer has the text message that I sent, because what I have to come out because I got you on my phone and then come back in, and I'm not certain if I'll be able to come back in. But the producer, I'm hoping that the producer, he can put it in there so people can go and see it. That's what I'm hoping, because I had sent them, with regard to the Zelle and also the Cash App. So that way he can do it. If not, I can do it, but I'm gonna have to maybe come back in just in case. But so, Mr.
Okay.
Producer, are you able, just say yes, Mr. Producer, or say no, so then we know how to handle it.
Well,
Uh,
either
uh,
way, at some point we will be able to
let me.
put in our chat so that we can provide support to the young lady. I thought maybe I had it as well, but I don't.
Okay. The producer said yes. So yeah, that's what we talking about. Our Black media. They say social media is not the news. Social media is the news, especially our Black media. Kandily Kesha. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I said these are geniuses right here. I'm surrounded by geniuses. I'm just the unstable idiot. I'm just the unstable idiot, the unstable cousin.
Okay, and I think I have it right here also. So for those of you who I want you to listen to me right now, not Dr. Teray. It's dollar sign. Excuse me, I'm suffering with some allergies today, allergy issues. Dollar sign MAKAYLAHSB. So again, it's dollar sign MAKAYL, A as in apple, HS as in Sam, and B as in boy. And if you could put that in our feed, producer, that would be great. And for those of you who are listening, if you can make a contribution to this young lady, recognizing that no amount is too small. And Dr. Teray, it will be my hope that you will contact me and tell me
Oh,
that this
absolutely.
was able to secure the necessary funds that she needs and
Absolutely.
the help.
And we will have her come on our Black Media to let it be known. Yes, ma'am, we will do that.
Well, listen, thank you so much for popping in, for
Thank
being
you. Thank
my
you.
surprise, my surprise pop-up guest. Maybe I should have this as a segment. I like this.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
It might be dangerous though, right? Huh?
Just depending on who the person is. But again, thank you. Appreciate you all.
Yes, sir.
All
And
right.
listen, Savannah, it has been great. I have been struggling through with these algae issues to talk with you tonight and to keep my brain connected to my voice. There we go. There we go. Zelle as well as Cash App. So let's see if we can help Miss Michaela Bonds. Any support that you all can give to her would be greatly appreciated. I'm not going to labor too much longer tonight. We're going to slip away and get ready for a exciting week. You will see me out and about. We have started campaigning. We are in the midst of things right now. I'm so excited. I don't like everything about the campaign, but what I do love about campaigning is meeting and greeting people. Right now, we are in the middle of our signage campaign, and it's politics is a nasty game, and it's an underbelly of an experience. And so, we've done a pretty good job with putting our signs out and about, and we want you to know that we don't intend to bother anybody's signs, and we intend to abide by the ordinances of the city of Savannah. Um, so all of my signs are on private property where I receive permission to put all of them. Some businesses as well as some homes, and these are individuals who um, support our campaign and support my efforts to become the 68th mayor of Savannah. And so removing my signs or vandalizing my signs is a crime. It's against the law. And so we want to encourage individuals who are connected to other campaigns who may be directing people to do these things to redirect them not to do it. We do not intend to meet that level of pettiness with that type of behavior. Nonetheless, many of the signs are under surveillance, and so we are not above going the distance when it comes to holding these individuals accountable because these signs cost. And it's painful for me to spend money in politics. It's a part of politics that I really hate. After being a public servant of nonprofit charities for over 20 years, raising money for politics is the worst thing. Well, it makes me nauseous. But I realize I have to do it to compete, right? And so when we do that, I want to make sure that we're being a good steward over the dollars, but also that I am taking steps and actions to protect the goods that I use, whereby these purchases are concerned. And so if you see something, say something, or if you see one of my signs falling down, just call me. My number is posted on my personal website for the campaign, and that's kgc68mayor.com. kgc68mayor.com. We are a little bit under construction on the website, but it has as much content that you need right now. But there's also a donation button there for you to contribute to our campaign, and we'll come back and talk to you about that a little later. But I just wanted to add that little bit in before we close as well. I could be here with you all night. I don't know, producer, are there any questions that I missed? I saw some popping up as I was talking. But is there anything pressing, or a big question that you want to share with me that I may have missed? How come the city hasn't made an announcement about water being out. Our water. Jasmine. Oh, Jasmine, your water is out in the Highlands? I had no idea. I didn't know about that, and I don't think your district older person knows about it. I will check into it. I will check into it as soon as we get off of the phone. Okay. The whole time Van has controlled council, nothing significant has been done. Correct, Mr. McMasters. Yes. What did you find out about the other councils do their agendas? Um, so we have had the opportunity on taxpayer dime to travel to many conferences, about two or three per year since we've been in office. We attend maybe two National League of Cities conferences and maybe two Georgia Municipal Association conferences. That's GMA and NLC. And at each of those conferences, I always survey members of council. The beauty of attending these conferences is we have an opportunity to trade stories, trade ideas, or to share in our experiences. And these are cities from National League of Cities, it's cities from all across the United States. And they range from very small cities with fewer than 5,000 people to larger cities with hundreds of thousands of people, as well as with the Georgia Municipal Association. Of all of the council members I have surveyed, and I have done some of this surveying live. Many of you may have seen my lives where I stop council members in the corridors after class or after the session is over, and I ask what their legislative process entails. Like, what does it take? How many members of council does it take to introduce legislation for consideration, or introduce an idea, or present for consideration of an ordinance? How many people on council, of your council members, does it take? And nowhere in the United States, nowhere in Georgia, does it take a majority. Like here in Savannah, a majority is 5 members of council. It takes 5 members of council to vote something up or vote it down, but it also takes 5 members of council for me to even get it to see the light of day. And that doesn't happen anywhere in the United States. It doesn't happen anywhere in the state of Georgia, except for here in Savannah, the great state that resides in the great state of Chatham. And so that becomes problematic because what that essentially does is, not only does it contribute to voter suppression, meaning I can't carry your voice, I can't carry your interests, which is why we've had to be sort of loud about backdooring our way into getting things done in the public, encouraging groups and organizations to mobilize, like the Susie B. King Taylor activist group. Mobilize, make your voice known, go public, come to City Hall. That's the only way we can get items to see the light of day. It's the backdoor our way into the agenda. And so we have to do that because the majority who has the power on council, that's the mayor, Dietrich Leggett, Linda Wilder Bryan, Curtis Purdy, Nick Palumbo, and Estella Shabazz. If they were to allow us to actually present to the public an item of interest, more than likely it's going to be aggressive, progressive, and it'll actually yield results, and they vote it down. You, public, you, citizens of Savannah, will then see where their real intentions are. You will actually see you're going to vote down an opportunity uh, to support rent control. You're going to vote down an opportunity to provide services, activities, or funding to help us uh, alleviate our community from sex trafficking. You're going to actually vote down uh, an item, legislation that we can bring into our fold as an ordinance that will support our property owners from having their properties sold on the tax steps. Yes, a lot of that is regulated by the state, but you know what? There are opportunities and guidelines and interests that we can come together as a council. We don't even communicate, we don't talk. We've never met as a committee. We don't have committees, we don't have groups. And that's the other difference between many of those other commissions and councils that operate in the United States and the state of Georgia. They actually have work groups or they have committees whereby they get together with other citizens in their community or each other, and they can select a task, select an item, and figure out collectively how do we solve the issues related to our communities that need sidewalks in all over Savannah as opposed to just one area of Savannah. How do we respond to communities where there is environmental pollution like Ogeechiton? How is it that we can get street calming devices beyond some of our coveted areas and communities in some of the areas that need it, like Jackson Can Park? So we desire for there never to be a community that is identified as an underserved community or in Savannah, or an ignored or marginalized community in Savannah. The resources are far too great for any community or neighborhood to lag behind. I'll take one more question if there's another. So to answer your question, John McMaster's, it doesn't exist anywhere in the United States. Who's paying for a police precinct on Hutchinson Island? The citizens of Savannah will pay for the police precinct on Hutchinson Island ultimately, albeit it's partially a huge state-funded project where the construction is concerned. Just like a lot of our police service is relegated to the downtown corridors for tourists. A lot of our police service is relegated to the downtown corridors for SCAD students. A lot of our police services are relegated to those individuals who visit Savannah and tour Savannah. And so I would imagine that that same formula would be met. And this is one of the things that we have been advocating for. Our police department, since our arrival on council, has been down over 100 officers. We're just at a little bit under 100 officers right now, or right at it. I don't think we've done much better. Where's my sign? 5 members. Yeah.
Like that.